This is TWiT.
Let's talk about the new features. And iFixit did a teardown. I think that the 40-inch battery was like 10% larger, and the something like that, and the 44-inch battery was a little less larger.
Millimeter.
Yeah, millimeter. What did I say? Inch. That would
Inch.
That'd be like
I gave you the first one. The second one, I said, okay, I guess.
Millimeter. Thank you. Thank you, Andy, for correcting. So have you had it long enough to have battery life since, Lory, or is this?
Renee did. So mine just came yesterday. Yeah, mine just came yesterday, and I don't think that it was fully charged because this morning I slept with it to just make sure that I've got.
A lot of people are going to be doing now, thanks to the
testing that out. And at 6 a.m. it was at low power, so I popped it onto the charger for just an hour, and it was charged up to 85% just in that hour. So that was pretty great.
That's kind of what Apple said is that you'll wear it at night and then charge it when you take a shower in the morning, and you'll be fine. You could literally wear it almost all day. Renee, has that been your experience?
So I'm doing testing right now, and I did a zero load for the first cycle, which means I didn't do any. I didn't run the workouts. I didn't run the ECG, anything. I just I charged it, wore it, let it die. I did leave it on for sleep tracking because I wanted to see how long it would last. It lasted 36 hours.
Wow.
And I didn't believe it, so I did it again, and it lasted 36 hours. It lasted from the morning through the night till the next midnight.
And you have the 41 meter band?
I have the no, I think it's just fresh battery, and I didn't have to do an update.
Right.
Like it's a fresh install. Right. So there's no sort of update stuff.
Well, notoriously
going on
things like
that might be where my battery is different is I set it up as from a backup. So I've got all of those apps loading and storing. So that's probably why my initial day wasn't as good as yours. So
that's what
we'll
I'm
see
doing
though.
Now.
That was just
I'm
the first day.
Plus all the workouts and stuff.
You're smart to do a load-free test because really the load can make a huge difference. Workouts really can kill the battery. I don't know yet about the blood oximeter.
Well, that's my version of on phones. I do Pokemon Go because nothing hits the battery as hard as Pokemon Go. So on here, I'm doing ECGs and workouts and blood ox and I had I just for my review because I didn't feel really qualified to talk about the new sports features. I got Ray Zahab on the line, and he's that extreme adventurer who runs across the Sahara in 100 days and runs across the Arctic. And he was loving it because he does VO2 max all the time, and he loves having it on his wrist. And he used to get the little pulse ox things, but didn't have them with him. And he runs altitude. He says he doesn't care about the distance. He's always going for max altitude. And so having the always on altimeter was great for him and being able to see the screen better. So for someone, I think there's always a lever. I really wanted always on display. For years, that was my thing. It worked. It's an Apple Watch that just is not a good watch. And they finally gave that to me last year. But I think for the people who care deeply about the real, I don't want to say fringe edge of fitness, but like the real deep levels of things like VO2 max and SPO and all those things, so it'll be like a candy store for them.
Do either one of you have either one of you checked the oximeter with an actual oximeter to see if it's close?
Have not.
I have one. When I get it, I get mine on Monday. I will definitely compare it to a blood oximeter. Although, honestly, I mean,
I've heard it's very accurate, but Apple is not legally allowed to say how accurate it is because they haven't gotten it approved. So it's considered a wellness feature, not a medical feature.
Oh, interesting.
But well, I think with ECG, it's taking so long to get it into so few countries that they didn't really want to go through that again. So now it's available everywhere. They're just not allowed calling it a medical feature. But from people I know or I've spoken to who have tested it, they seem to think it's using very similar technology, and it gives you a very similar accuracy to those little finger doohickeys from the pharmacy.
And Gadget was saying it's a little finicky about placement on your wrist and all of that. Have you had either of you had difficulties getting the oximeter to work?
Not at all.
Okay.
They recommend before you start it, a little notification shows up that says not to have it too far down on your wrist to like
you don't want by the
pull
bone.
it back from your wrist a little, but
that past the bone, I think.
Yeah, but I guess I just automatically wear it that way, so cause I didn't have any issue at all.
And of course, if you have one of these, what do they call them? Stretch band watches.
Solo loop.
If you have a Solo and you got it properly sized, you probably would have it always accurate.
And they don't want you to move because it's 15 seconds. So they recommend you put the watch face facing up and you put your hand down on a table and just let it run. Because if you do move and it shuffles around a little bit, it stops and yells at you and makes you go through the instructor manual again.
So tell me about the always on. Is it a lot brighter, noticeably so?
Rene, you're going to be able to account for that because I come from Series 4, so I didn't have always on, so I don't know the brightness difference. But I would like to talk about my enjoyment of the always on period.
Always on is great. Yes.
And you got it when they fixed it because it was so frustrating. The first year, I loved it, but if you got a notification, you would tap it. That would wake up the screen, but not hit the notification. And I would always forget that and then have to tap it again. And now it blasts right through.
Oh, good.
But I forget that it blasts right through now. So it's always on, and I go to tap it, and I get a second notification sometimes. No, I wanted the first one. So I have to adjust that. But
is that a fix? Is that a fix in the Series 6 or a Watch 6?
If you have 5 or 6, that's been
so it's
the way it handles notifications.
WatchOS 7 fix for 5 and 6. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
And it is brighter. It's like 2. I don't know if you can see. Oh, I always forget which way I'm going with this. But that's off. That's not on right now.
It looks like it's on.
If I turn it off.
On my Series 5, I think it's brighter too. Would that be the case?
It shouldn't be because I believe they got a better they have better panel efficiency, which is letting them light it up more on the Series 6.
Okay.
But it's good if you're outside because outside the brightness is more of an issue.
I did go outside and was pretty surprised at how clear it was in dark, in sleep mode or whatever. But I love, and I know this is a WatchOS 7 thing. I love that. I use a workout app that I interact with on my Apple Watch a lot. So I skip to the next exercise by tapping my wrist. And on the Series 4 that I've had this all this time, I'd have to wake my screen. So I'd have to tap the screen just to wake it up, which is very frustrating when you're holding dumbbells or something like that. But now it actually just appears on the screen and I can tap it really quickly, and it's so much nicer. It brings my anxiety level down, as weird as that sounds, to just have that happen.
Anything else to say about the watch? I keep washing my hands and making squishing sounds, and I never get that.
You have to turn that on.
Oh, it works all the time. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You have to enable it.
I get it when I'm cooking now. If something is sizzling like onions and I'm turning a pepper mill, it thinks that's soap in me washing my hands.
Keep turning for 20 seconds.
The nerdiest thing for me is that they managed to get A13 Thunder and Lightning cores into the S6 system and package. It's one silicon generation removed from the iPhone now. Obviously, it's not as big and as powerful and doesn't have the thermal envelope or anything. But that silicon team is just doing startlingly amazing
I think that's the
subtext
of the announcements that they made last week is really because the iPad Air has a 5 nanometer processor in it. Has 6 cores. It has 4.
That's 1.8 times more density than the 7 nanometer process.
Yeah. I mean, it's
8 billion.
None of this was necessary, but it's flexing. It's to say we make our own silicon now, so why not?
Well, the way that Apple Silicon works is that they don't want to be a merchant silicon provider, and they don't have other customers, and they don't want Apple to become we've got the Apple Watch as a customer and the iPad as a customer. So they want to make a scalable architecture that they can do things like put A13 cores in the Apple Watch and put the same chip in the iPhone that they put into the iPad, and then add extra cores to make that work on the iPad Pro and conceivably the Mac. And that lets them have really big efficiencies, and it means they can concentrate their talent and their time. But it also means they have to be really smart in making a chip. Maybe the image signal processor gets hit much harder in a phone than it does in an iPad, but maybe the iPad's thermal envelope is way bigger, so it gives you more overhead to use those really intensive apps on the iPad than you would on the phone. But it's that one architecture that's spanning all those things. And so it is a wicked flex in many ways, but it's a flex that makes them so efficient and so high performance at the same time.
Oh, I mean, if I were them, I'd flex too. I mean, right? It's a flex we all benefit from, right? Love those guns, Apple. Keep it up. What else is there to say? I did not, Lori, thank you for that tip. I did not have I thought it would just happen, the hand washing. But you're right, there's a hand washing setting, and it was off, so I've turned it on.
Now the next time you wash your hands, you'll be really annoyed, and you'll be mad at me that I taught you how to turn it on.
Well, I know how to turn it off.
No. It's nice. It's good. It helps you remember to wash your hands.
It's great.
Correctly.
Yeah, I was really disappointed because I keep washing my hands, hoping that it would tell me.
You have to turn on blood oximeter as well. It's not on by default.
Okay,
to go in and turn
that's good to know. Yeah. I have to say, I was one of the skeptics in the first few iterations of the Apple Watch. I wore it, but it was like, it's not a huge improvement, especially because it wasn't really a watch. But I'm super happy with my Series 5, and I can't wait to get the Series 6. I think Apple has really created the best smartwatch I've ever. It's just amazing. It's useful.
Yeah. Without question, and you weren't wrong. Remember that it took Apple a couple iterations before it figured out what the Apple Watch was all about.
Yeah.
If you look at the launch event, they certainly talked about fitness, but they were also as eager to talk about, what a lush and wonderful app environment. It's going to be like having like a little bit of your phone on your wrist, and everybody just basically started throwing garlic and crucifixes at that concept. And as soon as they realized that we built one hell of a fitness watch, and that's what people were responding to, they said, okay, sorry, forget what we said. We're going to make the best the best wearable and the best fitness watch in the same package. And again, there's nothing like it. It is enough to make a lot of people switch from whatever non-iPhone they're using right now to an iPhone.
Well, it does really drive that, isn't it? That iPhone adoption, because you can't use it with anything else. Go ahead, Rene.
I would also argue that it went from this like way for you to not have your phone in front of your face all the time, which nobody was really that excited about, to a fitness device that everybody was really excited about. But there's also Fitbit and all that other stuff, to what it is now, which is a health and wellness device that, to me, it's the ECG, it's the fall detection, it's the blood oxygen monitor that helps us better understand our entire sort of medical well-being. That's even different than just a fitness tracker. This adds like something other than that to it that makes it stand out to me from all of the wearables, just because it's doing what it's doing is like gathering all of that data and turning it into this overall sort of health report on your entire body and your sleep and everything. So it's even gone further than just a fitness device.
Well,
yeah, you're absolutely right. Because I just want to say that Apple Watch is certainly not the first fitness watch to do blood oxygen levels. It wasn't necessarily first at many of the things that it's noted for. Right now, I'm taking a look at the Fitbit Sense, the new version. The new version of it that is shipped about a month ago or something, and it does have blood oxygen level. It also has stress sensing and that's something that the Apple Watch doesn't have yet. But like Lory said, the big deal with the Apple Watch is how well it can take all of this data and combine it into a very, very clear picture of what's going on with your health and with your body today. Not even necessarily saying, okay, you're in good health today, okay, you need to go to the doctor tomorrow, but simply saying, here are some numbers, here's what the numbers were yesterday, here's what the numbers were a month ago, and by combining all of this data together, it might give you an idea of, oh, that was that week that I ate like absolute crap all week long. No wonder like I wasn't exercising. No wonder I wasn't sleeping really well. Perhaps if I were not to like take advantage of the all Ben and Jerry's $1 a pint sale at the Stop and Shop and have to eat it all in 1 week, perhaps then I would not have quite so much trouble sleeping.
Yeah. I also think that it's what's interesting about the watch. It's something for there's a feature for everybody. So it's all of the above. It's not any one thing. I do weird things. Like I like it that I can record audio on the watch. For quick notes. I use drafts.
Yeah, drafts.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I use Day One Journal, and I can quickly record an audio in the journal. So there's little things like that. And I never really thought I'd use as much as a phone, but I answer phone calls most of the time on the watch just because it's easier, it's quick, and apparently people can hear me. So it's surprising. I think everybody finds different things to like, and to me, that's a very good indicator of the strength of a platform. If you have enough features in it that there's something for everybody. It won't always be the same thing, but there seems to be something for everybody. And then there are people, I would imagine most of them, who find more than one thing. Because if I do a workout without starting the workout, I feel like I didn't get any workout. It's like, oh, rats, this didn't count. I mean, you really want to keep track of that stuff, so it's good.